Okay, so today's lesson is coming to you a little bit differently because I actually want to show you what you need to do. So today's lesson is rendering. So first of all, you're going to need to draw on a piece of paper 3 cubes. So 1, 2, 3, okay? Now I've drawn mine in isometric. You can do them in 2-point perspective or isometric, completely up to you. Now what I've done, as you can see, is I've labelled 1 plastic and 1 wood. For the time being, I'm going to focus on the wood one here, okay? Now, in order to render means to add not only a light effect, but also add some texture to it. Now, focusing with the light first of all. Now, the light can come from any one of 8 points, okay? Now, I'm putting those points around here, so you can see what I mean. Now they almost form like a square around the cube, okay? Now, yes, if you look around a room, you can probably see light coming in through a window, light coming from the ceiling, maybe light coming from a door. In design, we kind of put a spotlight on it. We focus on one. Now, I always like to work from this one, okay, like this. Now, what this means is that it hits this surface first. So I usually put a 1 on there. It then hits this surface second, and then this one doesn't get hit at all. So that's 3. Now, if it was coming from this one, it would hit this one first, and then wouldn't hit these two. So these would both be a 2. This one, it would hit this one, but not these two. And you can kind of work it out from there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm then going to add layers of colour. Now, first of all, make sure my pencils are nice and sharp, okay? And I've already done this with the plastic one here, so you can see 1, 2, 3. So, first of all, when rendering, I'm trying to film and do this at the same time, you keep your pencil in the same direction, okay? Now, first of all, you notice that I'd already gone round the outline. That's so that you don't have to shade up to the edges, because if you shade up to the edges, you might go over and then risk going over the lines, and we don't want to do that. So I've added 1 layer on here. What I'm now going to do is I'm now going to add my first layer on this side. Now, my pencil keeps in the same direction, so the amount of times I take it off, it doesn't matter, because if I keep moving it in the same direction, the lines will all blur together, okay? So, like that, and then like this. Now, the smaller the direction, the better, okay? The smaller the lines that you do, the better. Some of you will want to just kind of go like this and fill the whole cube. You can do it, but I'd recommend doing a lot smaller. It's a lot neater, okay? Really take your time with it. So I've added 1 layer to each. Now I'm going to leave this one, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm now not going to press any harder, but I'm going to add a second layer of colour to this one, okay? Now I am going to go big across all of this because you don't want to sit and watch me colour all afternoon. But that second layer, hopefully, with the quality of my camera, hopefully you can see that has now gone darker than the other 2. So I've got my second layer of colour on here like this. So you can see that is lighter than that one. Now for this one, what you do is you can probably imagine what comes next. You add that second layer, and then you'd add that third layer, okay? So I'm just doing it in the corner there. You can see that the third layer becomes darker. Now, if you look at the plastic, here's one that I've already done. So you can see that I have 1, 2, and 3. And 1 is the lightest, 2 is the middle, and 3 is the darkest. Now, plastic is quite reflective. So what I'm going to need is I'm going to need my rubber. Now, where it hits, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub out a few lines. Like that, okay? I'm going to get my coloured pencil and just go over that line there. Now, that is your reflection lines, and they're quite big, which is good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm then going to do smaller ones where that's hit. So I just did one on the edge here, but look, where that hit there, I followed it on but made it smaller and smaller around there. And you get that lovely plastic effect that you can see on there, okay? And that gives a really, really nice rendered plastic image. Now, you can do exactly the same with metal, apart from obviously you wouldn't colour it in red, you'd colour it in like a pencil, like a grey or something like this, and that gives the same effect because metal is also like glowing like that. So you can see how that works. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly show you, here's one I did earlier. So there's my plastics I've done before, but this is what happens with wood. So you can see 1, 2 and 3, so I finished colouring those in, but then with a darker brown I added the natural wood grain pattern on the side, and then where those lines meet these faces, it's straight lines across like this. So your lesson today is to do exactly that, to do just 2 cubes of the 3 and do a wood and plastic effect. Hope you're keeping safe, and I will speak to you next lesson.